If you're thinking of getting a hair transplant, don't do it until you watch this video so you know exactly what it takes to have a successful hair transplant and keep the results that you have, so that way you're able to hold on to the hair for the years to come. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Here's the thing, I get so many emails every single week, and a common misconception that most people have is that a hair transplant is a permanent fix, otherwise known as a cure. But unfortunately, I'm sorry to break it to you, but that couldn't be further from the truth, because there is no real cure for hair loss. And the number one reason why most people's hair transplants actually end up failing is not because of the technique or the clinic that they went to. The reason why most of them fail is because they fail to maintain the aftercare that's required, necessary to maintain the native hairs that we have on our head. Underlying reason why male pattern baldness occurs is because of our hormone known as DHT. DHT does not care if you got a hair transplant or not. It's going to continue doing its thing, whether you're in the growing phase, whether you're in the shedding phase, whether you're 2 years, 4 years, 5 years post-op. So regardless, it's going to continue doing its job. But as someone who's about to invest thousands of dollars into a hair transplant, it is our responsibility and our duty to do our due diligence to ensure that we are doing everything in our power to block DHT, possibly regrow some of the hair that we have. Essentially, it's a three-part system. One can't go without the other. One, you have to block DHT. Two, you have to stimulate blood flow to the scalp to stimulate new hair growth. And three comes the hair transplant, which is going to be transplanting or relocating the hair follicles from your donor to the area that you're balding. Even if you take one of them out, which for example, if you don't get the hair transplant and you just do the DHT blocking and the stimulating of the hair growth, yeah, you're able to maintain the hair that you have. But if you're all the way gone, there's no coming back for you. If you, let's say, stop blocking DHT, for example, let's just say you're using minoxidil to combat the hair loss, unfortunately, it's not going to be enough for you to maintain the results that you have. So it's important for you to do all three of these, so that way you're able to have the best chance necessary to fight against the hair loss. Fun fact is that we have over 100,000 hairs on our head. If you think about it, in a maximum graft setting in Turkey, let's say you go and they do a 10,000 graft surgery, which is a mega session, which is a lot of grafts that they're going to have to relocate from the donor to the main area wherever you need hair. Even that, in comparison to 100,000 hairs, it's not a lot. So the DHT blocking and stimulating of blood circulation is a must for you to actually have some of the native hairs grow back, or if you have the native hairs, to make sure you're blocking it through DHT blockers so they're not going to miniaturize over time and go away. Because yeah, sure, the grafts in the back are permanent, they're DHT resistant. The grafts around it are not. Interim results in a lot of people's scalps looking like this. And unfortunately, it's so common. Like, I go to the gym, I go to a grocery store, I go wherever, and I see, and you know, after being in the hair transplant stuff for a couple years now, I noticed so many people, like, I can see the hairline formation that was done onto their scalp. I even see some of the scars in the back, but unfortunately they don't have the hair because they didn't keep up with their treatments. And that is like literally the saddest thing, because I know that person once wanted hair. I know that person would love to have hair, but because they didn't know the importance of the proper aftercare necessary, unfortunately they weren't able to execute on the proper actions to go ahead and hold the hair that they have. Even if you're not about to get a hair transplant and this is something that you want to do as a prerequisite, let's say you are planning to get a hair transplant maybe 2, 3, 5 years down the line, the more that you keep up with these treatments like minoxidil, finasteride, microneedling, laser therapy, whatever it is, like, that is only going to help you when it comes to your time of your surgery, because that way you're not going to need as many grafts from their donor area, because you're going to have already enough hair preserved on top, which in turn is going to make your results a whole lot better from the hair transplant. So even if you're not thinking of getting a hair transplant right now, still consider hair loss prevention regimens and treatments, so that way when that time does come, you're not in for maybe a 7, 8, 10,000 graft job, which can be huge. Sometimes it takes 2 trips if you're doing it in Turkey, and if you're doing it in the US, they're not even going to let you do a mega session like that. Here it's going to be literally cost you $20, $30, $40, $50,000 even. So it can be a one hell of a shit show and make things very, very complicated if you don't take this stuff seriously. So I just want to remind you of some of these things to take into consideration if you're planning to get a hair transplant, and if you have already gotten one recently in the past year or two, definitely go ahead and keep that in mind and keep up with your treatment, so that way you're able to hold on to your results, and those two things can work in synchrony together to give you the best hair that you have possible. And typically the simple 2-step minoxidil and finasteride is a great way to start, because minoxidil can help you stimulate some of the blood flow in the area, and finasteride can help block DHT. And now I know some of you guys have some reserves against finasteride because of the possible side effect profile that it has. Even if you're using finasteride or not, I'm gonna put it a shameless plug, but I would highly recommend Plex. This is my very own brand that we launched a few months back. It's a 2-step system system that helps you stop and reverse hair loss. In the kit comes Vitafoam, which is a minoxidil based formula with natural DHT blockers in them, so that way whether you are taking finasteride, it will be an extra layer of DHT blocking, or if you're not taking finasteride, at least you'll have some level of DHT protection against the hair loss. This will work wonders when it comes to stopping and regrowing hair. And then it comes also with a scalp roller that you use once a week onto the balding area. So studies have shown that using both of these alone can literally double the hair growth than using simple generic minoxidil or Rogaine alone. So this literally took us hundreds of samples and going back and forth with our labs and our chemists to develop the perfect formula, and it's been really effective. I personally use it myself, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for an effective treatment to combat against hair loss. And if you want to check it out, I'll have a link to it in the description below. So anyways, I hope you guys found this video helpful. It gave you some insights whether you are getting a hair transplant soon or you've already gotten one. I hope this inspired you to take some action to go ahead and take the proper precautions necessary to keep the hair that you have. And if you guys want me to make videos on specific topics, a personal problem that you have, or anything like that, just be sure to let me know in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to consider that and answer any of the questions that you have. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.